Welcome, 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 good people, good people, good people. With the greeting of the day, good morning, good evening, and good night. I don't know what time you're going to reach, or I should say, this podcast or this episode shall reach you. So I greet you with the greeting of today. I am your host, Turbo the CEO, at Trinity Entertainment, brought to you by Trinity Entertainment, at Trinity Music Group. We are here and we are here. We are here. It is 9 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast. East Coast, for people who didn't know. Mm. This is high quality H2O. Tonight's episode number 30, we're going to talk in depth about a topic and a subject that a lot of people are talking about. You know, I like to I like to see what buzzwords are out there and what's trending. In tonight's episode, which I going for an hour solo. I haven't done that before. So tonight's tonight's episode is going to be an hour long. It's a solo show, and we're going to get into it very soon. Um, Talking to some of my guests as we speak, and like I said before, the episode tonight is going to be on whistleblower. And you hear this word whistleblower constantly. And I believe with the conversation about UAPs, you're going to find that more whistleblowers are going to be coming forward. Uh, it's going to be an interesting subject. So please pay attention to that. There are no coincidences, and it's not a conspiracy theory if it's true. It comes true. It may not be true at the moment, but the truth is on its way, just like whistleblowing. So, um, responding to a couple good people. How are you guys feeling so far? It's Tuesday, and we off to a great week. Off to a great week, I must say. Um, in the past past couple of weeks, Mike, aka the Sensei, and I have been delving into many different subjects, um, and doing different series on those subjects. Few subjects we have been talking about in the series. The last series we completed was Who is Behind the Mask, where we have a list of movies, cult culture films that we went into and showed you parallels and relations as these movies relate to what we see today. How those dystopian um, type movies, which are futuristic, have fast forward and are now part of our present. Before then, we did another series. I forgot how many parts it was. I think it was like 8 parts, 6 to 8 parts on protecting your family from hackers and bad actors. And we discussed how to approach that and gave you tips, and hopefully you took notes on how to move forward with those actions and call the actions that we presented to you. And tonight, I hope you take some notes tonight as well, because we're going to do an in depth conversation on what it is to be a whistleblower, or what is whistleblowing. And it's all about, we get to a point where we're unraveling the truth, the whistleblower journey. Ooh, I need a cheer for that. Listen, I know it's kind of corny, but I love it. I love it, man. Listen, I love it. What's going on? Instagram, we still my people on Instagram, we still there because I don't know why it's grayed out. That's kind of interesting. All right, I'm not gonna worry about it right now. But yeah, unraveling the truth, unveiling the truth, and unraveling the truth. The whistleblower journey. Hmm. Talk that talk. Talk that talk. Because everybody likes to talk. People just out here. It's basically it's snitching on some injustices that may have occurred, you witnessed, or you know something like that. But today we're going to explore the intricate world of whistleblowing, what it is, why it matters, and experiences of those who have dared to speak out. A lot of people have spoke out, man. A lot of people have gotten in trouble for whistleblowing. One of the most um, one of the most prominent and celebrated in some circles was whistleblowing that was done by Eric Snowden. Then you have whistleblowing, another whistleblower, Chelsea Manning. I think don't I think that was her name. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that was her name. I had wrote that down. I just don't see it at the moment. Um, I don't. Yeah, I don't see it at the moment. I think that's her name though. But um, what is the importance of whistleblowing in today's society as truth seekers, as people who are coming forward, telling their truth on things that they have witnessed, things that they have seen? You're probably asking yourself, what's what's a whistleblower? Whistleblower is an individual, often an employee or someone who witnesses and reports illicit activities, unethical conduct, or violations of laws within an organization. This act can be crucial for maintaining corporate integrity and accountability. And man, that's a lot. It's a lot of whistleblowing going on. I just watched this morning as I was diving into this subject, um, a general coming forward and speaking on UAPs. Um, I found that to be quite interesting as the channels or the chatter is that Congress was unaware and Congress reached out to another government agency and they basically snitched on themselves. And now we have a whole mess of things about UAPs. And I believe more information about UAPs are going to be coming forward in the next couple of weeks. And from the way things are looking, as you notice how these call to actions are taking place, something is mentioned, and then it's not just a one liner, it's just not a two liner, it's mentioned, and then it's constantly mentioned, and then there's evidence, and then from the evidence we're supposed to be getting HD level type of evidence. There's possibly going to be congressional hearings, more They had some last year, but more congressional hearings about the subject. And from there, who knows? We might even get a visit, or um somebody or something that is extraterrestrial or alien in nature may reveal themselves. At this point, at the way 2024 has been 2024ing, anything is possible. I I I would be surprised. I'm just not surprised about anything anymore. As all these things come forward, I know there's a saturation of information. The Sensei and I talked on Sunday's episode about misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. And malinformation is information that is malicious in nature. For those who don't know what malinformation is, but I'm not surprised anymore. I'm not surprised that one morning we go outside and around the world you see either a black hole or a portal just open up in the sky. And like movies, what happened in the Avengers, things just start coming out the sky. I'm not surprised anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's 2024. I expected that. I wouldn't expect anything else or less. So, um, some of you may be asking, why do people choose to blow the whistle? Blow the whistle. I forgot that beat. That was a hit song, man. Blow the whistle. Y'all remember that? Um, Motivations can be very widely uh, including a strong sense of ethics, a desire to protect the public interest, or personal grievances against the company. Often, it's a moral dilemma between loyalty to an employer and the greater good. High quality H2O. A lot of whistleblowing gets swept under the rug, but then you have some that gathers momentum. I I I believe, in my opinion, that the ones that use different media outlets to get their message across, those things usually blow up. Um, those things usually blow up. They go viral, and now because it's the attention of the media that is garnering this action. It is garnering and forcing these companies and media to pay attention because now the public's involved. Once you have the eye and the ear of the public and you're a whistleblower, now that it blows up into a whole different level. It's like being it's like being a character in a video game and you're reaching me, the final boss. But before you get to the final boss, you have different levels you have to go through. And as I've learned on my social media voyage, journey, whatever you want to call it, you meet certain criteria, and each criteria you meet, each standard you meet, you are able to get to another piece of that, and you keep elevating, and each elevation you're able to do more, and that includes marketing, that includes the length of your shows, that includes all different types of variables that are in place for content creators to want to elevate. You just don't out the gate are able to produce and come up with uh You got to meet certain guidelines. It has to be structured. So as you meet those ceilings and get through that process, you're able to do more. So that's something I've learned in my content creation travels. Um, oh, disclaimer. I don't know why I always do this, but disclaimer. The disclaimer is this is for entertainment purposes only, and I don't know anything. Period. The end. Let's continue. You the you know Eric Snowden talking about whistleblowers. He got into a lot of trouble for leaking those cables. We're talking about secret and top secret cables from the government and from that agency he was working for. I believe it was NSA. He got in a lot of trouble. I joke around. Since saying that, we joke around about the uh, the men in black knocking on your door, or uh, when I say spanking, I know y'all probably like, what? What is he talking about? Spanking by social media. People get restricted because it's their platform. So some things you can't discuss, or if you cross one of those um, one of those restrictions that are in place, they restrict you. They shut down people. They shut down your show. They delete your page, and I find, especially on platforms, on I don't see it so much on Facebook. What happens on Facebook is you get shadow banned, and um, I've been shadow banned a few times where I go from having hundreds of comments and likes to to damn near damn near 10 posts or 10 likes a post, and I have over 40,000 followers on Facebook. But on TikTok will shut you down. They I've seen a few people who had hundreds of thousands of followers, and their page doesn't get restricted. They shut it down. They end up losing that page. It's a monetize. It's a platform that you can use to monetize. So you're making money off their platform. They are allowing you to make money off their platform, and with that, you have to follow their rules. It's not so much about freedom of speech. I spoke about that early on in one of the episodes. It's not necessarily about um, freedom of speech because it's on their platform. So you have to follow their rules and their guidelines. They are controlling the the media that goes on there. So they would snatch your page in a heartbeat. And I'm talking about, man, affecting people's livelihoods. It's crazy. It's crazy how someone who is possibly making a decent living off of content creation on various platforms, and it's taken away from them, and now they have to start all over from scratch. And some people, because they're following and they have like a cult like following, people are able to gravitate and pick them back up. But time and time again, they keep getting shut down. People get tired of that. People are um, like the election space we're in right now. People are saturated with information. Is saturated. It's everywhere, and people are fatigued. You have what I like to call election space fatigue. Same thing on when repetitive things keep happening, people get fatigued from that stuff. Like, oh, okay, it's time to move on. But back to our subject. Um, What are the risks? We just talked about Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden, not Eric Snowden. Edward. We just talked about Snowden, and sorry for that gaff. I don't know where I got Eric from. We just talked about that action that he did, which got him in a lot of trouble. And he was living overseas for a while. He was in Europe. He was in Russia for a while. He was being moved. He was moving all in different places, and I guess they came up with an agreement where he can come back to America. He was just on somebody's social media last like a week or two, and I don't know if it was. I want to say it was anonymous, and he was on there talking for a while before I believe that got interrupted and shut down. But the question of what are the risks of whistleblowing? What are the personal risks that people face? Whistleblowers often face retaliation. He faced a lot of retaliation. We're talking about government level retaliation, which is crazy, super crazy, including job loss, harassment, social ostracizing. Um, some lose their livelihood and struggle to find employment after that. It's a whole gamut of things that aren't positive that can happen to you. But in my opinion, I believe that when those things happen to a person, especially a person who's a truth seeker, and I think this might be some type of social study. I, I think that when those actions happen to a person, it only invigorates and energizes them to want to get the truth out even more. Oh, you're going to take all this away from me? I still have the information. I still have leverage. And because of the things that you're doing to me, I am not backing down. I am going to seek and pursue this truth relentlessly. I don't care if I have to give it to you from the beach or the back of a car. People who come forward as whistleblowers are very special. They have an innate purpose of fulfilling fulfilling that mission. They're compelled. They are fanatical even to the point where they have it's do or die for them. Do or die. So maybe companies and organizations should take another approach. Um, we had big stories last year about Boeing, and we're not going to talk about that. Some people were, yeah, some people were, you know, and people, I assume, and I can only imagine that in that it appeared to be coincidence. But after it kept happening over and over again, it opened up some eyes on these whistleblowers at that company, Bo, and then the investigations were started. And it related to the whistleblowing because of faulty malpractices and different things that were occurring and putting people in harm's way with their product. And several people who were doing the whistleblowing were Yeah. You may ask yourself, are there legal protections in place for whistleblowers? It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. I know Congress, I know there were some laws passed. I think it was a whistleblower protection act. Um the Whistleblower Protection Act, which aims to shield employees from retaliation for reporting misconduct. Not really. Yeah, it's in place, but really, like, really, come on, good people. We know, we know the truth. If you want to be a whistleblower and be protected, you better lawyer up. And then after you lawyer up and get representation, uh, go hide in plain sight as that story unfolds, as the things that you're talking about go viral. Go hide in plain sight. But there are protections available. However, as we know, these protections can be insufficient. A lot of like a lot of things. And it's unfortunate that in the year of our Lord 2024, things that are in place and still have absolutely no effect. Like domestic violence. Advocate for domestic violence. And you see all the time, still in the news, how a perp will violate a person even after those protections were put in place, restraining orders were put in place, but to no avail, something still happened to that person who's supposed to be protected. Crazy stuff. But this is the world we live in. But yeah, there are protections in place. The U.S. came up with the Whistleblower Protection Act, and however, as I stated a few minutes ago, these protections are inefficient depending on the case. What's the process of? You're probably asking yourself, what's the process of whistleblowing? What are the steps of potential whistleblower should take before reporting wrongdoing? Listen, take some notes. Mm. Some of you out there may be little whistleblowers yourselves, and you want to come forward about some wrongdoing. And look, listen, and I'm not talking about on a personal level because that's a whole nother subject we can get into. But from a personal level, when I say personal, I'm talking about personal to person. I'm not talking person to business or corporation or organization. Person to person, um, coming forward. We as humans, we do people wrong. We do each other wrong all the time. How many times can you count on your hands and feet that you've been wronged by somebody? We all have, man. Listen, I'm guilty. Trust me. No, nobody on this planet, nobody on this planet is I just lost my train of thought. Nobody on this planet is can step forward and say, I never wronged anyone. It's not possible. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe that in the human nature, even from childhood, we we start lying at a early age. I think that some wrongdoings that we do against each other, I believe some of it is not intentional. Some of it is not intentional, but we aren't as forgiving sometimes, and we aren't as forgiving, and we want our due. I'm not talking about that. That's something entirely different. I'm talking about you being a whistleblower and you want to come forward because what you've noticed or are reporting against an organization, corporation, and things of that nature. We we been seeing this as it's been trending, and it's a hot topic. So that's why we're talking about it tonight on the Final Boss podcast. What are the steps? Firstly, you should document everything. Gather enough evidence. Maintain records, visual medium, audio medium, and you have to be careful because a lot of times, oh man, I'm missing a huge case. The Diddler case. There's so many whistleblowers. They got a hotline. Hey, man, they have a Diddler hotline. That is just that's crazy to me. A Diddler hotline, man. People are that's that's just bananas. I don't even have any words for that. When I saw that the other day, I was just I was like, man, this is crazy. Can you imagine how many people are that are possibly inauthentic and speaking on some things just for the sake of getting some notoriety and attention and possibly getting paid? It's diabolical, man. Listen, it's crazy, 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 but there are hella whistleblowers who are coming forward on that. We have the young lady, I'm not going to mention her name, I'll just use phonetics. Um Juliet Whiskey. Juliet Whiskey. And then you have another individual who likes to come forward. Um, Oscar Beta. These people will call themselves whistleblowers and speak on numerous things that they've seen or witnessed or may not have seen, and collaborated on some stories that are either true or untrue. You have to do your own research on some of the things that they're talking about that they witnessed being in being celebrities. That's just crazy. But yeah, man, the Diddler got a whole hotline for whistleblowing. But back to my topic: gather evidence, maintain records, visual mediums, like I said, visual mediums, audio devices. But just have to be careful because some of those cannot be entered. They may be entered in evidence, but they might not be able to be entered into court depending on the severity. And people are still protected because you're not supposed to um, record people without their knowledge, especially for government. You can get in a lot of trouble for that. But it also depends on the severity of it, of the issue. But when you have things like the snowman who did what he did, and it was top secret and secret, those items went viral. Those cables went viral. And yeah, crazy. It might also be wise, like I said, lawyer up. Get you a lawyer that's experienced in whistleblowing. Understand your rights, understand your options before you want to go blow the horn on some things that you've witnessed. I know mm, I worked for I work There's an organization, a lot of people were coming forward, and a lot of events happened under this organization and continue to happen. The employees of this organization witnessed a lot of events, a lot of events that happened in the public, made it to Congress during a very peculiar time, very peculiar time. And I'm not going to speak on that because if I do, I'm going to have to lawyer up because I witnessed some stuff. And one day it may be a subject on my podcast. But I it's amazing how things come full circle, and you just sit back and you're like, wow. If I witnessed it, I know you witnessed it. Talking about um, people who are at this organization. Um, you're probably asking yourself, how should a whistleblower report their concerns? Well, you got a few options. They can try and report it internally, but I doubt if that will be successful. You have to understand that a lot of these organizations have a hierarchy in place, a good system where a lot of people are scratching each other's backs. So you have to be careful with trying to expose and go through. Maybe they have an action office, an HRO for whistleblowing, um, or an IG, as they call it in the government or in the military. A lot of times, if you don't understand how certain organizations protect themselves, a lot of scratch my back, I scratch yours. I see something, I'll let you know. There's a ladder effect for that, and it goes all the way to the top. People just don't get into their position or in their certain role without it being protected. So doing it externally may not be a good option. As a matter of fact, I don't recommend it. You're just wasting your time. Now you got a target on your back, especially if you still are working for that organization. Yeah. Now, if you separate from that organization, then have at it. You go through your legal protections, you understand the laws, you do your due diligence before you go forward and whistleblow on some stuff. Before you do that and you're separated from an organization, that's a whole different thing. But if you're still a part of the organization, don't do that. You 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 have a you're gonna have a target on your back. That's gonna be crazy. Now they're gonna be trying to take away your benefits. They're gonna find ways to get you up out of there. And if you don't lawyer up, you won't be protected. They would get you up out of there. And then they will ensure that wherever you try to go for employment, that your record is tainted. There's things in these HRO systems that you can't see. These hiring uh application you can't see. But there are things in there. There's notes. Every nothing. Listen, man. Everything that is black and white is in a system somewhere where somebody else can read it and it can follow you and be damaging to it can be damaging to your career. So I don't recommend reporting or whistleblowing externally. Es- eh, Internally, I'm sorry, internally. Why are you at the organization still? Um, if you feel and the internal reporting may result in retaliation, like I just spoke of, it's important to know different channels, go through proper channels based on the issue at hand. But most importantly, lawyer up. And I'm not talking about just one lawyer. Get you a few lawyers. Get you a few lawyers that work along with different filings that may be in line with that organization. Find you a blower lawyer. Find yourself a a team who understands evidence collection. You're gonna need a whole team behind you, especially if you are coming forward and speaking against an organization that's decades old or is a proponent in our government. There are case studies out now that are impactful. Um, and some of these notable whistleblowers and the impact of what happened when they came forward. Um, we spoke about the snowman a few minutes ago, and I mentioned how he revealed extensive surveillance programs and these cables that he dropped, leading to significant public discourse on privacy rights. What a whistleblower is like a glitch in the system. The system is programmed to move in one way. A whistleblower comes along and they break that flow. Now you got peak and valleys. That's attention and action. And every action, there's an equal reaction. Everything is about balance. So when the whistleblower breaks that line, now laws and regulations and policies have to be created because they just broke the system. They just broke the system. And to combat what they just broke, the system has to be repaired. In order for it to be repaired, it creates the regulations, it creates the policies, it creates things that go against what has been undone. That's just my example. I hope that works for you. Um, when I mentioned C. Manning, she exposed classified documents spotlighting military practices and sparking debates on national security versus transparency. And you see today, sure enough, generals and people are coming forward speaking their transparency. They're throwing it all out the wind. When somebody does that and comes before the public to something that's a hot topic like UAPs, they've lawyered up. They've done their due diligence. They've done the research. They have a team behind them. And once that trigger is pulled, like a bullet going down the chamber, once that bullet is pulled, once that trigger is pulled and the bullet is going down that chamber, that's an action. There's recourse, right? That bullet's going to hit its target. The target is getting the information out to the people. Once the bullet hits its target, now opposition forces do their thing to defy that person. And that person who comes forward, who have done the correct things about lawyering up and getting a team behind them, they sit back and wait. If you notice, they sit back and wait. They come forward, then you don't hear anything about it. The opposition has to make an action. It's like war. It's like chess. Opposition makes an act. They gather their evidence. They gather all the information on that particular individual, and they say to themselves, "Okay, we got a case file on this person," and they present it. These are cases, man. This is and then they present their case, and then his team comes forward and combat that case. And now we're in a rabbit hole of going back and forth with taxpayer dollars on who knows what at the end of it. You just don't know. But if you see someone coming forward in the public, trust me, they're ready. They're ready. If they're pulling that trigger, they're ready. As that bullet goes down the chamber and hits their target, they are ready. And I just spoke on how these cases have influenced policy changes. I just talked about that. I just talked about that. There's aftermath of whistleblower revelations. Organizations often review their internal policies. Just spoke on that. Regarding ethics and compliance and legislation related to privacy and often cybersecurity, because a lot of this stuff that's being leaked is coming directly from IT devices and the lack thereof pseudo cybersecurity. There's an increase of scrutiny when it comes to how these things are being leaked. Are people actually being properly vetted that are in control of these things? Man, listen, 2024 was a hot topic for whistleblowing. I was just sitting here thinking in my mind, there was a few military privates who had leaked or tried to leak some basic information, but because a a bad actor saw that they had the title. Oh, here's the one. They're young. They have a secret. Let's get some information from out of them. Young soldier just wants to get a Hellcat or some type of charger, maybe SVT. I don't know. I'm wilding. I know, but this, these were cases. It was a case I read about last year. Um, about a young soldier who was giving up information to the opposition for monetary value. That's just been you just been a traitor. That's not that's something entirely different. But they got into it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna get into that. But that happened a few times last year. I don't know if you paying attention to the news, but it did. Whistleblowing changed the landscape. It absolutely changes the landscape of not only the organization, but it changes the landscape in that space. Anytime, anytime information is leaked, in reference to something that's being leaked that wasn't supposed to be leaked, it changes the landscape. And with social media, man, the landscape is being blown out of the water because now you have access to millions, if not billions, of people who are now witnessing and taking in the information that you leaked. And then you have these internet investigators who have nothing but time on their hands. And they are better than the FBI when it comes to investigating some of these uh, allegations. I would call them allegations. These internet investigators are next level. There should be a social study on their abilities that investigating agencies, three-letter investigating agencies, can learn from. You know, it's like when you're a young hacker and you hack into some stuff that you're not supposed to hack into. And you're doing it for shits and giggles. You're 13 years old. I just hacked the DOD though, and blah 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 blah. Yeah. Uh the men in black come knock on your door, and now guess what? You're an ethical hacker. You work for us now. That's how it works. We're not going to um prosecute you, but with your skill set, we need your skill set. So you're gonna come work for us and be an ethical hacker. With whistleblowing and how it's changing these landscapes, and then you add social media, and boom,
Awesome.
a monster has been born. A monster has been born. Social media allows whistleblowers to reach, I just spoke of, a large audience more rapidly, often at the pull of a finger. Boom, enter, and it's out of here. It's gone. Now everybody sees it. And once it's out there, it can't be deleted. I don't care. I don't care what you say. It is not being deleted. Don't think for 1 second that what you push out there and you like, oh man, let me go back and delete. I don't know. It's there. And these internet investigators will find it. It is there. Trust me. There's nothing you can do once it's released. Often with that information, it's finding anonymity. As these individuals are being empowered to share their stories. They're fanatic about it. It has to be done. I don't care about my life. I'm going to get this information out there. So the truth matters. People are compelled to get their truth out there. There's a lot of whistleblowing going on. Just saw something the other day that I thought was crazy about some social media people. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Just know that there will be some backlashes, and you have to know what you're going to be able to withstand. That's why it's important to shield yourself first. It's like a chess game. You have to know the moves before the moves take place. You have to protect yourself. Use your pawns to protect yourself before the opposition makes a move. You have to do that. What does the future hold for whistleblowers as they drop their knowledge on the public? Technology evolves. The public's awareness of whistleblowing, like the subject I'm talking about tonight, will grow. Sorry about that. It's essential that we develop robust legal protections. It's necessary. I think the whistleblowing space in the next couple years is going to be so explosive that it's going to need its own space. Whistleblowing will be its own space. Right now, it's just getting energy and some traction, but I believe it's going to be in its own space in the future. So protections, robust protections will be needed to ensure the individual's safety for coming forward because we've seen, man, we've seen some things with some different corporations where people were and time again it happened, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's just a coincidence." No, mm-mm, no, it isn't. And I also believe that the past is going to hunt the future. I think about that. The past will hunt the future because information is available. These internet investigators will find the truth, and it's just a matter of enough internet investigators colluding, and now it's gone viral before people were able to go do their own research and find truths about it. An event happened this week all over the country. People seeing UAPs in the sky, something's on fire, something's burning, something's crashing, and they're talking about how it appears that it was multiple objects that this is entertainment purposes only, and I'm just speaking on something that's already out there. So I'm not whistleblowing or anything. People are talking about how they saw something in the sky, it was on fire, it's burning, and it touched down in different locations. One of those locations was Washington, D.C., another was North Carolina. People are saying the same thing, describing the same thing that apparently touched down somewhere in those same locations. And there were multiple locations. I think there were like 5 or 6. But for my show, I'm only speaking on what I see, and that's on the East Coast, North Carolina and Washington, D.C. It's clear that whistleblowers will and have played a critical role in societal accountability. The watchdog, right? The watchdogs that are supposed to be in place, but how can they actually be watchdogs if they're working with the same organization? Not a watchdog at all. A real watchdog is a third or fourth party looking in and investigating, not something of the organization. So don't report internally. Don't do it. Save yourself the trouble. It just doesn't work. And a lot of military people probably attest to that. I'm not going to get any further on that subject, but I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot in 23 years. Crazy stuff. That's a subject for another day. But like I said, they play a crucial role in societal accountability, ethical transparency. And in conclusion, it is in my opinion that we need to foster a culture of openness, open transparency, support, ensuring those individuals know their rights and the importance of reporting wrongdoing. It's about creating an environment of safe space as this whistleblowing thing grows. In my opinion, I believe these things would definitely take place. They are going to come forward to the point where there are protections, real protections for people who are coming forward. And the gov should support no matter what, because if there's wrongdoing and conduct that is uh, illegal, they should be concerned. There are a lot of talks right now about our food. There are whistleblowers coming out daily speaking about our food and that three-letter organization, Foxtrot Delta Alpha, and how they are allowing the poisons that are in our food. But man, that's a whole nother subject because you're talking about food that we intake and how some foods are legal here but illegal in other countries. And we're a first world country, supposed to be the number one country in the world. But these companies are allowed to feed us this crap. And how do you know it's crap? Because you can look at the ingredients and see that it has food is supposed to be food. If it's bread, it's supposed to be water, flour, yeast. No, they got 20 different ingredients. Water is supposed to be water. I'm glad I'm drinking some good water because some water have a list of ingredients. I'm like, how? How does water have a list of ingredients? It's water. But you get my point. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. Go do your own research. There are a lot of whistleblowers coming forward on our food and the Foxtrot Delta Alpha. Go check it out. I'm just dropping breadcrumbs, man. This is what I do. But we do. Hopefully in the future the culture will be fostered and be supported and the behavior is celebrated. I think this is where we're headed because too many people are breaking the system and it's happening so much that the system can't repair itself. The system algorithm isn't able to repair itself because of all of the whistleblowing that's coming forward. It's just too much. It's like overload. So system is going to have the system if it's overloaded like a program, it has to be redone. We're talking about defragging and reinstalling, right? Since this is my first show that's been an hour long by myself, I'm a firm believer of referencing my topics. It's not just hearsay or the top of my head. It may be opinionated, but um, having a college background, I like to believe and report on things that can be reviewed, have scholarly reports on it. I gather some resources for you that you can check out. There are a few books, and you can take notes on these and do your own due diligence. Maybe this video will go viral and people will say, hey, let me go research and see what this guy's talking about. Well, guess what? I'm prepared. I'm lawyered up. Here's some of the references and resources. There's a book, Whistleblower: My Journey to Silicon Valley and Back by Horace McKenna. Horace McKenna. The Whistleblower's Dilemma by Joe Doe. John Doe, fictional. There are articles from Government Accountability Project. There are academic journals discussing the psychology of whistleblowing. This comprehensive conversation and how I put it together to flow for tonight's episode, I did it to ensure that critical aspects of whistleblowing are thoroughly covered. And I'm over an hour. I didn't think this was possible, and I've done it. So I was able to do that, and it felt so good. They're critical aspects, man, and I wanted to cover all of those. Please feel free to shoot me an email, hit me on social media. I'm everywhere. You can find me, Turbo the CEO, or at the Final Boss Podcast, or at the Final Boss _podcast. I'm on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on StreamYard. And slowly but surely, as I learn the space of TikTok, we're on there too. There's some episodes up on TikTok right now. Because TikTok really is a different social media space. I'm learning a lot about TikTok, but we're out there too. We're soon to be on Apple and Spotify. So look for that. And remember, for all of you out there who want to be a whistleblower, do your due diligence, lawyer up, get a team behind you. You may say, oh, I don't have the money for that. Well, if the issue at hand is so big, it cannot be denied. It cannot be denied. You need to come forward. The public needs you. We're at a time where information and truth is critical to our well-being. It's critical to the space we're in. You need to come forward. Get your team together. Do it the right way. Don't just go on social media and start blurbing out and dropping stuff. Oh, these are the secrets to this recipe. These are the secrets to how this organization operates, how they change the labels of one thing and another and charge you more. Don't do that. Do it the right way. There's a little whistleblower in each and every last one of us. It's time for you to come forward and speak your truth, but you have to do it the right way. As this space grows, there are going to be more people out there who are just like you and I because we control the medium. As you will notice all these things that were used to control us are now, that space is changing. We're becoming the new Hollywood. We're becoming the new news. More people are gravitating towards content creators, podcasts, and other truth mediums versus what they see on the television. Those old ways of doing things are going away. Let the truth be a light. Let the truth push you forward. The truth grab you and hold you and give you the energy to get your truth out there. But be moved with calmness, move with perseverance, move with agility, move the right way. You have to, for the sake of you, your loved ones, your family, but you have to do it the right way, man. I can't stress that. I cannot stress that. But feel free to adjust or elaborate on any of these sections as needed. Like I said, you can email me at info at thefinalbosspodcast.com. Email me again, info at thefinalbosspodcast.com. One word, info at thefinalbosspodcast.com. That's going to conclude tonight's episode. I've gone way over the time limit, but I think it was worth it. I hope that I am able to just reach just one individual and create change and enlighten them for them to be better. As you move forward throughout the rest of the week, please be blessed. Please move with caution. Please realize that everything isn't as it seems. And I would question what you see, what you hear, and what you smell. That's our show tonight. I'm the Final Boss. This is the Final Boss Podcast. And we're out.